Hey guys, Steven here at Little Bears Models. Today we got an update a little bit on the commission build of the pickup I've been doing. Um, at the beginning of this, you see I don't have much done, but I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to cut this bed up. I got the markings for it already marked, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make it a long bed. Stick around, because we got a lot to show on this. I did go ahead and cut the rear section of the spare tire mount out, as this is a fresh frame. I cut the front fenders off, or the inner fenders, because this truck did not have inner fenders. I cut the fuel tank out, and now when I get the bed, I gotta look at it, see where I need to cut both frames, the stretch, because I'm gonna have to use probably, I added 9/16 to that bed, so I'll probably have to use 9/16 of this frame. I'm not sure yet, but we'll get there. I went through, so something to help you guys is mark everywhere that you need to do work on. So his rockers and cab corner is rotted out, so I got that marked where I'm going to have to Dremel and sand it down. There's a big hole in his fender where it rusted under the emblem. I got that marked. Where they cut the tip of the fenders off. He didn't have vent windows, so I got to cut those out. The door handles. That's the kind of stuff you got marked just so you remember to take them out. His truck didn't have the fuel cell doors, so I got to cut those out of this. And then I got to still fill, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but this kit has got the bed with these little weird marker indents. I don't know if it's an old toolbox, I'm not for sure. But I gotta fill those in, make it smooth. I gotta cut the tip of these taillights off to add the extra to the back of the bed. We got the wheels done for his truck off camera. That is a SS wheel from the 454 truck kit. I drilled out the center to get rid, because we don't run center caps on our derby cars. Drilled out all the individual holes for it, and then I should have saved one wheel so you could see, but that is now about half the thickness it was. I sanded a lot last night. It took me about 2 hours to sand both of these down, if not longer. Got his wheels made. Oh, they're not put together yet because I still got to paint them. These will be chromed, but I got all the individual studs put on these because these rims didn't have the studs. So I got the studs put on. Those will be chromed here in a bit. I'm waiting to paint those because I want to be able to test fit stuff. We have, oh, I got this marked for getting cut out. So you don't run door panels or interior door panels on your derby cars. So I'm gonna cut this out and put a sheet in with the stimulate that it's the inner door panel of the actual door of the pickup. We're gonna probably not this video work on the frame. This video is gonna be more focused on just the cutting this bed up. So how I'm gonna make these, try to keep these lines the straightest, I'm gonna use my Tamiya tape because I am horrible at making the lines straight, and we're gonna follow the lines what I can do the best. So this measurement is the one that I gotta cut 9/16 of the bed off. So you can see in this measurement here, you gotta cut the first box. You gotta use 2 truck beds, and one is 9/16, and then you gotta cut 7/32 off the end and combine them to make the long bed. So mark this. Oh, I forgot to mark the interior of it, which you will need to mark the inside of this, which I forgot to do, for the so you can keep that line straight across the bottom. Let me pause this real quick, and I'm gonna mark that real quick. Alright, I got that all marked off now. You can see where I'm gonna cut and follow these lines so I can add it to the other bed. I'm going to be using a mixture of my jeweler's saw, and I call this my bone saw, to cut this. Actually, I might use my Dremel just so I can get it done quicker. But let's cut it off and see where we get. I'll be back. Alright, folks. Well, I got it cut. With using the Dremel, you'll have to clean up all the plastic, deburr it, and get all that cleaned off of it. But there's that to that. I will use my scriber to cut this out so I don't take out too much plastic. But that fits up pretty well against it. I got a little jagged, but I'll use some filler on it. I cleaned the ends of this off so I can just mount that right up against it. Looks like I won't have to either file that down or get it cut down, but that'll put that up against the back of it. We'll clean this up. These on the taillights will need filled. We'll use some styrene and fill those in. Actually, yeah, we'll probably use some filler. Use filler styrene and put it in there to get those marks took out. But keep following, we're almost there. I'm gonna take this tape off, clean them up, and get this cut out. Stay tuned. Alright, well, we got it cut. I forgot, I did this on the last one I did, is when you cut out the back tray for the first bed, the line don't line up. So, I'm going to have to fill that in. I did something wrong here. I think I got to take, this is just tack glued, this isn't permanent. I'm going to have to sand that down quite a bit and get it. I will be using the styrene to fill all that in because you can see it's not how it should be. I'm not sure if the measurements are not quite right, but I'm going to have to sand quite a bit of that down to get this flesh. I'm wondering, I don't say it, but I'm wondering if I'm supposed to actually cut this line off here to get it flesh. I'm wondering if that's actually how it's supposed to be. But we're still getting there. That's going to be not the easiest thing to fill and make look right, but we'll get there. Again, that's how you make a bed. I think I'll do a time lapse of me fixing the rest of this to get it set right. I'll show basically not the finished product, but it being built, done, or getting the bed looking nice. So, yep. Hey guys, well, I'm back after that a few hours. I forgot the cover when I got the body just together. My phone died basically, and I ended up forgetting about it. But here's the bed together. I will say this is not perfect. If I do this again, which I will need to cut this part of the bed longer, because I end up having to fill it in with another piece of the bed. And then when I do the rear, I gotta cut this back. I forgot to cut it back because the tailgate on these don't actually this panel is not here on these trucks, so that would have helped get this more square. For a derby truck, it's all right, but I'm gonna still put a little bit more filler in it, get this sanded down some more. But for a derby truck, that's pretty dang good. Like I said, if you follow these instructions on this, you need to make the end of this piece right here stick in a little bit so it's more flush and looks right. And then you need to make this piece longer where you cut out the back of the where's the back? I'm not sure where the piece is at, but when you cut the back of this one out, it has that extra where you gotta add. That's on me. This is only the second time I did it, and the first time I did it like 4 or 5 years ago, so I was learning. But that's just my tips on it. Again, that's how you make a long bed. I will recommend that you get this spot right, because it makes this whole section all off. But luckily for me, where it's off, I'm going to be folding it under. I still got to cut the gas caps out and cut these out, but for the most part, his truck bed is done. While the bed's done, but, well, not done yet, but it's almost done. But with me waiting for everything to dry on that, I went ahead and stretched the frame. I stretched it, so I stretched it. We'll do this in millimeters so you guys can see it. It is stretched, gosh darn it, 18, so 19 basically millimeters, to give it the long bed fits on it better. I did go ahead, he flipped the shackles on the rear, so I went ahead and added those. These needed sanded down some more because the bed does not fit, which with doing it that way, you can leave the factory tabs on the bottom of the bed so it mounts, so it's still mounted in the factory spot. But like I said, these shackles need trimmed down some, but that's the frame stretching. Pretty basic. I just used a piece of C-channel and then cut styrene to cover it to make it boxed, and then with that I pinned it, which I should have used actual metal rod instead of plastic, but I pinned both sections together just to give it a little bit of extra strength. But we got that done, and then I worked on this truck quite a bit. I cut the fenders, got the door handles off, drilled the door handle mount or button tab all out. So his fenders were cut with a torch, and I learned this from the military guys. They just do this with a file. To give the look of cuts. You just take it along that edge, and it files the little grooves in it and gives it like it was cut with a torch, because a torch does not cut like a plasma cutter where it's smooth. I still gotta drill out these rockers and cab corners, trim the windshield wipers off, cut the vent window post out. We're getting there. I got his motor primed. I will be painting it Chevy orange. Got his headers made, which these are the ones from Ed Wins 3D. I cut the tip of it off, which it had the flapper, and then used a piece of tube to make the hollowed out part. It is to show that you can customize 3D printed parts to make them your own still. So I got that done. Yes, these are big. I'm not sure if these are the big block pipes and they're going on the small block, but they was what I had to make the height of his truck. So that part won't be completely accurate, but that's alright. So I think that's it. The next video I'll cover is front suspension. I think I'm going to build the suspension and then show you guys, because I still got to do quite a bit of modifications. I got to make the tabs for the top of it. I still got to make the tranny cross member. I got to still make the engine cradle. Like, I still got quite a bit of work just to do the fabrication on that. But we'll get there, and I'll show you along the way. And stuff that I could show, I'll show. I appreciate you guys watching. If you could, hit those likes. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Have a good day.